utmost respect for your fiduciary duty. I look forward to working with you in the weeks ahead to adopt a new city budget. When we gathered in late January at Corcoran for the annual State of the City address, I said our city and region are preparing for next level growth. The city of Syracuse has been on a rising trajectory in recent years. The days ahead look even brighter, with Micron making one of the nation's largest economic investments ever right here in our community, and construction on the massive transformational Interstate 81 project slated to begin this year. With forward-thinking planning and action, we can shrink deep challenges in poverty, housing, work readiness, and public safety, problems that continue to harm too many individuals and families in our city. This budget is an example of smart investing in the future of this city and its people. Covering the fiscal year running from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024, our spending plan enables our continued reemergence from the COVID-19 pandemic and also starts the next stage of our journey to a fiscally strong Syracuse. The $310 million budget funds the investments we made in the fiscal year 2023 budget to improve services, expand opportunity, and feed the momentum our city is gaining. Facing significant inflation, including increased labor expenses, the budget forecasts 5% growth in spending. That's less than the rate of inflation, despite salary, pension, health insurance, and Social Security costs all rising. Fuel, natural gas, and electricity alone will increase by 55%. It activates a tax base that is, after decades of stagnation, beginning to grow at a more substantial rate. After careful consideration and looking to the future health of city government, the budget includes a 2% increase in the property tax rate. It is only the second change in the rate in the past 6 years. The proposed budget also raises water rates for property owners to offset the rising costs of materials, allows continued investment in water infrastructure, and ensures a continued, stable, clean water supply. A typical residential increase will be about $1.65 per quarter. I do not take these increases lightly, but they are measured, responsible steps that must be taken now to make up for rising costs and continue closing our structural budget deficit. Failing to act now will only set the city up for deeper pain and a fiscal crisis down the road. I want to thank our city department heads and their teams for their hard work in developing this budget. Departments are holding the line on new expenses and rearranging how they operate to control costs while labor and many other expenses increase at a rate higher than the rate of revenue growth. Because of their creativity and effective stewardship, this budget enhances services for parks, public works, police, fire, schools, and neighborhood quality of life. In the new budget year, we will proceed with citywide implementation of uniform covered trash carts with semi-automated sanitation pickup. This program is a win for our workforce and for our residents. Thank you, councilors, for approving this program. Responding to the need our young people have for safe places to spend time, the budget funds night and weekend hours for youth activities at selected parks and recreation facilities. To administer a new zoning code and accommodate increased development and growth, we invest in a restructured Department of Neighborhood and Business Development with enhanced planning and permitting capacity. Did that pass today? Good? Great, thank you. The budget continues to improve public safety. It includes a 24-hour, 7 days a week city ambulance service staffed by the Syracuse firefighter paramedics and makes permanent 24-hour scheduling for the fire department. The schedule benefits our firefighters and our city finances. The budget includes new firefighter and police classes, as well as the new police cadet program for young people ages 18 to 34 to start careers in policing in the city. It implements a new police contract, including an improved officer schedule for more efficient and effective deployment. With this better schedule, we can reduce overtime costs and introduce and expand police services neighborhoods deserve. New walking beats, more bicycle patrols, and time for officers to spend building relationships with the people they serve. The budget funds an increase in alternative response services so persons in crisis get the help they need sooner, beginning with calls to 911 and when police respond to calls for people in distress. It includes funding for an expanded dog shelter facility with greater capacity for stray dogs. This investment is in response to the post-pandemic increase in abandoned dogs that is affecting Syracuse neighborhoods and cities everywhere. And there's increased staffing for litter collection in the Environmental Services Bureau at DPW. The budget also includes a fund to address pay equity for nearly 300 city employees not covered by labor contracts pending completion of a compensation study. And of course, the budget enables all of the other services on which our constituents depend: creating safe, affordable housing, maintaining our roads, streetlights, sewers, broadband, and other infrastructure, caring for our parks, and running an efficient city government. In approving the city budget, the council will authorize the budget for the Syracuse City School District. The plan submitted by the district includes a $40 million increase in state funding. That's an amount representing nearly 8% of last year's total budget and is good news for our students and school district staff. Responding to a request from the district, I'm proposing $500,000 in aid to assist with improvements to school facilities. The money will cover the required local share for projects not funded by the Joint Schools Construction Board. Potential projects include stadium construction, turf replacement, window replacement, and roof repairs. It will allow the district to invest up to $25 million as these projects are 98% reimbursed by state funding. I want to thank Governor Hochul and our local state delegation for their support of our school district. In discussing the fiscal year 2024 budget, it's important that we look more closely at where the city gets its money and what the outlook is for our future. Sales tax, the largest source of funding to the city at 39% of our revenue, continues to reach new record highs. We expect $119 million in sales tax revenue in fiscal year 2024, about 3% higher than the projected total in the current fiscal year. As I mentioned earlier, the budget benefits from growing property values. In fact, the rate of growth in our tax base is up 9.4%. That's about 3 times last year's growth rate. Compared to fiscal year 2023, Syracuse's structural deficit, the difference between the cost to operate city government and the revenue the city takes in, has been reduced by 35% from $32.4 million to $21.1 million. The budget proposes closing the gap with $4 million in ARPA funds. That's a 75% reduction in use of pandemic relief over the prior year. So we are appropriately shrinking our reliance on ARPA. Pandemic relief is helping both our residents and our city recover from COVID-19. To balance the budget, we propose drawing $17.1 million from the city fund balance, which currently exceeds $100 million. At the end of the next fiscal year in mid-2024, the fund balance will remain at a responsible level. We need to provide a bridge to a fiscally sustainable city government. A 2% increase in the property tax rate now will prevent raiding our reserves further in the future. The change will move the rate to $27.71 per thousand of taxable assessed value. For a property with an assessed value of $100,000, the rate change will increase the annual tax bill by approximately $54. Even with the increase, our combined property tax rate per $1,000 of taxable assessed value will remain comparable to other big cities in New York, below that of Rochester and Albany, and higher than Buffalo. That's an appropriate and competitive place to be. A discussion of city revenue would be incomplete without discussing the second largest source of funding to the city, state aid and incentives to municipalities, or AIM payments. They deliver nearly $72 million a year. But while every cost we face goes up every year, state AIM aid has not changed in more than a decade and a half. The state has experienced massive gains in its own revenue, but has not increased AIM. I greatly appreciate the support we receive from New York State in so many ways, but I am disappointed this area of assistance has stayed flat. If state aid had seen even modest regular increases over the past 15 years, Syracuse would not face a budget gap. I'm hopeful the state's approach to AIM will change in future budget years, but we cannot rely on that. We must take decisive action to protect the city's fiscal health. Looking to the future, I will redeploy our Revenue Enhancement Working Group to study short and long-term sources of funding to reduce the gap between the city's revenue and its expenses. I'm asking the group, which includes members of the Common Council, to identify between $20 to $25 million in recurring annual revenue to eliminate the city's structural deficit over a period of 2 years. We need to do this without an over-reliance on local property taxes and in ways that preserve a responsible fund balance. Councilors, this is my 6th budget as mayor. None of them are easy. This one surely isn't. It does, though, present clear signs that our plan is taking root. Investing in city services is making a stronger and more attractive city. Revenue fueled by growth in property values increased. We continue to see solid gains in sales tax. ARPA and a strong fund balance are bridging us to a sustainable future. This budget puts us in position to benefit from the next level growth occurring in our city and our region. We are moving ever closer to realizing our vision of being a growing city. We are. That embraces diversity. We do. And creates opportunity for all, which we will never stop working to achieve. Thank you again for your partnership. I look forward to our continued work together.
Yeah, like when you hit color.
It's the new way of the world.